GM, GM. Check out the three coins I've been watching: Ondo, Pepe, and Ton. Take a look at them. Update some of these charts. So Ondo, I fancy this if the market remains bullish to do a shorter version of what's over here, where it does actually hold the daily trend. The bands don't cross red, and it chops, and then builds its way back up. But you're talking probably at least an equivalent amount of time from the top to here, which is 11 days, for it to be able to properly build back up and go for a breakout, which would be 25th, 26th. You're talking towards the end of the month, yeah. It would have to probably chop around for a bit before then being able to break out after. And that's, again, like I said here, that's with Bitcoin holding 65. So let's zoom it in and take a look. I think for Ondo, we want to see, I'll take off the bands. I would want to see more strength and more consolidation. As we get closer to the ETH ETF, tokenization narrative is likely to be one that is worth following, right? Because Larry Fink's going to come out and shill tokenization and talk about how it's all fucking, everything's going to be on chain again. And if it's going to happen this month, I think your best place to look is flipping the monthly open and confirming this area as an actual support level. Because we had the capitulation candle, we had the retest of the lows, which is very normal. We then moved up, rejection, went lower. So this is in a very slow, but it is in a downtrend. And you want to see it go more sideways and show some strength. So in a simple sense, what I'd need to see from Ondo is a move up above 140. Let's go to 140. Let's create a higher low. And from there, I think you can look at breakouts. So I'll take that off as we've now a new setup. Something along these lines. If you're looking at lower time frame entries, monthly open flip is where it matters. It's not being able to, you can't just blindly buy or sell the monthly open, as you can see, because it's chopping around it. It's not actually using the monthly open as a perfect support resistance. But if it's able to get above and consolidate above it and push higher, I think Ondo has a decent setup. But what I can see, it's probably still a good bit away. More down price action is needed down into the previous all-time high, unless it can hold at that monthly open level. And don't be surprised, by the way, as Ondo rolls over, if it ends up retracing the entire thing. So again, this is all dependent on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to have a bearish next couple of months, then Ondo has a retracement of the entire thing back to at least 96, if not 80 cents. This the upside movement, the breakouts and all that are only valid as long as it stays above the previous all-time high. Here, that's a must, absolute must hold, 105. Below that, not good. And the reason why I say it needs longer is it's attempted twice this week to have the dip bought and pump. Both times big rejections. It tells me it's too soon, right? Cause and effect. There's not enough cause built, needs more time, more consolidation before it can go up. Ton. So, Telegram coin, Ton coin. We got the breakout. Breakout and closed above $8. So that is a good start. Volume was decent. Volume is very good. 2x the average. So I would say you could consider this to be a valid breakout right now. Above that level. Sorry, I was going to draw the rising fucking. There we go. Get the dotted line on. There we go. So you saw this rising triangle breakout. It's done. That's valid. I mean, You're either going to call it valid or it's not. Would I call that valid? Yes. We had a solid green candle, not a massive impulse. It could have been bigger, but it was a good breakout candle, closing above the highs with 2x average volume. You can see the average volume there. It's easily at least double the average volume. Not much more you can ask for. I zoomed in and had the volume profile of that leg up here, right? And you can see the value area there, which is below us, like that. And I would say then for ton, you do not want to see it go back into that blue square. I think if it's going to hold here, it's either just going to continue higher or have a quick dip at that level and then continue higher. I think it should just go from here. It should not really have much of a pullback if you're going to ride the momentum. But this isn't one where I would say, buy and hold ton coin. But be mindful, these are very much low time frame trading ideas. I'm not saying it's either a bad thing to have a longer term position on ton, but I only deal with this stuff short term. What would I want to see if I was trading something like Telegram on the breakout here? I would look at the signal and say, okay, if that's a triangle breakout with above average volume and it's holding and closing at the highs, I would expect to see 1, 2, 3 days of immediate continuation, which should offer some long setups right away. If we look at Caspa over here, which is the example I was giving from before, right? Caspa had this breakout back in late 2023, and this is how it looked on the 4 hour. So we'll go to the 4 hour of ton. You can already see the resistance relatively. Okay. Here's Caspa when it broke out. Here's ton when it broke out. Similarities, but really what you want to see with ton in the same vein is that it just keeps grinding higher and higher and higher. If it does anything other than that, I wouldn't be interested to trade it because it's not moving the way I would expect it to for a simple breakout. It might do all this other stuff. It might, this whole thing here, it might be a false breakout, right? This little bit above the dotted line, a bit like what Pepe did a while back, and it does that and it chops around, it comes back below, then it comes up again. If so, I just wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't keep bag holding it. Only if what I would expect to see happens, which is basically uninterrupted continuation for another leg higher, and I would trade it with a lower time frame view in mind. Let's say we get to a 1 hour chart, we look at, get our bands on, it's broken out here, it's pushed towards the highs, there is a pretty big volume divergence where volume initially was going lower, I should say here, price went higher, volume went lower, you then got a big selling candle with high volume, which actually can be bullish, that can be a bullish divergence, because there was a lot of heavy selling and price could not go lower and it reversed. So that's a good sign. But when we made a new high, there was yet another volume div. So if you're looking at the volume of the higher pushes here, here, and here, there seems to be relatively little buying pressure pushing it into the highs. And now we're into the weekend. So choppier, more difficult action. I wouldn't be surprised if that wick gets revisited on the lower time frames. You might see it come down for a retest, and that might offer a better entry. Little bit like it did here. You had the big sell-off, initial rally, comes back, dips down, holds, right? Initial sell-off, rallies, comes back. Is that all the dip it's going to get? Not sure. If that was the case, I would want to see a 1 hour breakout with volume. So if there is a big 1 or 4 hour breakout with an increase of volume that would indicate some continuation, I would then play a lower time frame trade. I would trade it from 830 to 880 and just trade a 15-minute chart or something in there. I wouldn't be looking at high time frame trades here, because ton will pull back soon. It's been in a 1 hour uptrend for 3 or 4 days now. If it does continue, it'll push and push and push, and then it will have some kind of a cool off, and I would want to catch part of that move or just let it develop. Pepe. So zoom out, go back, look at Pepe. Pepe's got a very, very weak chart in terms of the price action structure here. It's lost the bands. Okay, so let's take off all the drawings. It's back at the old all-time high breakout, which is a potential SR flip. That's okay. It has had the capitulation candle and then it's dipped down to take out the lows. That's fine. Bands are red though. It's lost all momentum. And so it needs to build back up, just like what I mentioned the other day. So first of all, it needs to get back inside the value area, which is the blue box, which is currently not. So there'll be no trades for me down here at this point. If it does climb up into this area, where the red lines are, where the red circles are, that's where it starts to get interesting again once it climbs back into the VAH value area. And if the market is looking better, which will require Ethereum, because if Ethereum starts to take over again with the ETH ETF narrative, Pepe is an ETH-based coin. It should do well, right? Better than most. So I'd be looking at that. I'd be looking at a reclaim, consolidation around that level, and then climbing back up before getting long. So right now, today, don't think Ondo presents any trades. Don't think Pepe presents any trades. Toncoin, yes. Toncoin definitely presents some potential trades. It would be a lower time frame thing though. And I would have to watch first of all, because when these moves up happen, it's super, super, super common. It chops a bit, breaks out. If there isn't volume and if there isn't impulse behind that, that's going to be the one that bleeds back down before it eventually goes again, right? Be mindful of this low and a high and a higher low and a higher high, and it can easily come back in here for a higher low. It looks like it's grinding up all the way, unless it follows like the Caspa path and just keeps going higher, higher, higher. Keep your stops tight. It's probably going to come back. GM.